There's something I wanna learn with the guys. But before I get there, I want to say that it's a kiddush shamayim how much Torah Shemi knows. I want to say sincerely that there's so much access to knowledge today. Be curious. Express your curiosity. You could check up minhagim, halachas. Torah is very, very broad, and a person can know Torah. We're capable not just of learning. I always have nachas from David that he learns the parsha, has questions and ideas. You can know Torah, not just learn Torah. I speak a lot in yeshiva, not just trying to be a good boy. Like, okay, a good boy, I came to say. You can actually learn with your chavrusa and walk away with a piece of Torah that you have clearly to know Torah. I appreciate a lot on Shabbos Kodesh, so Shimi was given the covet of doing Hagbah, of raising, and there's halachas, there's minhagim, there's so much in every, I've spoken, I'm not going to go through Hagbah right now, there's a lot to the minhagim of Hagbah, what you're supposed to do, and there's tremendous depth and beauty in minhagei Yisrael. They're halachas, they're minhagim, they're deraisas, they're rabbanim minhag, and there's so much richness, there's so much to know and to study. My uncle comes to yeshiva came a few times in his life, and he loves giving a shiur, telling people how to do Hagbah. But it's so beautiful. There's so many aspects to Yiddishkeit. There's minhagei Yisrael that have deep reasons for it, and come back from they come from Rishonim, from very early places. He loves training the guys how to do Hagbah. He always asks for quiet and teaches the Chevra how to do Hagbah. When I moved to Waterbury, there was an older gentleman who was a single guy. He was in 70s or 80s. Yehuda Gadisman, which is David Gadisman's Shaya and Viggy Gadisman's father, was close to this man, and he loved handling the Torahs. He only had one arm. One of his arms didn't work well. And anybody who would give him ear, he would talk to us about how to handle the Torah. Now, we had no chidushim, and a cynical guy could laugh. Like, he didn't have many chidushim. His job, he didn't get a chance. He never learned in yeshiva like you and I. But he had a tremendous appreciation for the Torahs, and he always wanted to teach the younger generation how to handle the Torah. He would give how to do psicha, and minhagei Yisrael, how to do psicha, which Torah to take out. If you lent him your ear, he would speak about handling the Torah. That was his job at B'nai Shalom. A cynical person might laugh. I don't laugh at all. Us Chassidish Yidden, the holiness of this Yid handling the Torah and how precious and important and serious he took it was something very, very precious. So I had tremendous nachas. Shemi got Hagbah, and Dani was given Glila, and then somebody said, you're allowed to give two brothers. Is that against the minhag? Is that in Ayin Hara? Shemi was talking a little about it, said that he wants to be Ma'ayin. There's a lot written, and you could research and find, and today we have a day of access. It's very easy. The computers, you could find things and really know. You didn't get a chance yet to research it, Shemi, did you? What did you say? He did. He probably did.
Didn't get the chance. I was the first thing I saw at Kershi was that you don't call him up by name. That might cause Einar.
You're what Shemi said. Tell to explain to the Hebrew.
No, I'm saying that Einar might be that you call him up by name. I said Aliyah might be different than. Because they said if your minhag's not to call him up by name, like some shuls.
Some shuls will not call two brothers back to back.
Why is that some shul? What's that hard about that?
Right, that's what we're getting into. What's Einar? Is it a din the Torah? Is it a mitzvah that we're doing? So maybe if a father and son shouldn't eat a Shabbos meal together. Is it being in proximity? Like I have a couple of questions. I have to look more deep. Is it a mixture of Torah and whatever? Is it? Maybe a father and son shouldn't learn, or
It's not a Ramah.
Oh, right, it's adopted calling them up, right?
Some shuls, it's not a Ramah.
No. The din is we don't call a father, son. What does the Ramah say? Tell us the Ramah. Could you read the Ramah to the Chevra?
I looked it up yesterday.
Could you read the Ramah to the Chevra? Let's learn. Let's know. Get in the habit, Chevra.
Here we are.
Shemi, you could do this. Shemi, come. The coolest, Avi, in your own life, I try. Mayor, I try B'li Neder. If a Shaila comes up in your own life, Look it up. Asking shaylas is cool, but it's so geschmack. Research. You have a shayla, you look up, you find where the source is. If you could write it down, life becomes so dramatic and geschmack. Hashem's talking to us. People asking shaylas is great, and you should do that. Call a Rav. There are people to call and ask, but it's always geschmack. See the sources. Learn to read it. I find in my own life, David, things I learned, unfortunately, I sometimes forget. That's the way it goes. If something came up and I research it, you remember it forever. You find that, David? If a shayla comes up in the house, which Ramah?
I think it was a shulnah.
Let's read it. So let's read this.
We have like a fight between Shimmy and Aaron.
What's that? What? No, it's fine. Thank you, I appreciate it. I forgot. But the halacha is like this in Siman Vav. This is a mechaber. It's in Hilchos Kriya Sefer Torah Kof Mem Aleph. He says Yecholim Likros, according to the law, one can call up two brothers for an aliyah, one after another. There's the mechaber of Yosef Cairo. Vaben Ahrav, and a son after a father. According to the letter of the law, you can go back to back. Father, son, brother, brother. By me, it's funny, this halacha is less relevant. I was thinking me and Avi and his tata you're Yisrael, right? You're Levi, we're cousins, brothers and cousins. So we're both Leviim. For us, it's less relevant. For two Yisraelim, it's more likely to happen. You can call according to the letter of the law. You could call a father and son back to back. You can call a brother and brother back to back, according to the letter law. Ve'ein minichin, but we don't do it. Ela b'shvil ayin hara. Says the mechaber, ein minichin, we don't allow it. Minichin says we don't allow it because of ayin hara. So it's interesting. He says you're allowed to, but ein minichin, such an interesting lashon. We don't let it. He means like the Minhagei Yisrael. According to the letter of the law, a gabbai can call back to back father, son, brother, brother, but we don't allow it because of ayin hara. He says like Shemler, listen to how careful Shemi is in learning. He says even if one is Shvi'i and the next one is Maftir, so the next one's doing the Haftarah, La Yikra Sheni B'Shmai Mishum Ayin Hara. Don't call the second one by his name because of Ayin Hara. Shimi was saying, is it Ayin Hara to have two brothers, one Hagba, one Glila? So Shimi was medayik so carefully the way he learns that he says the problem is, Hudi says, don't call him B'Shmai because of Ayin Hara. Shimi implied that Hagba and Glila, in some shuls they call them by name. I always like the guy deserves, like Kulam B'Shem Yikro, give him a name. So I've seen three minhagim. I've seen shuls where they call up the Magbia and the girl Yamaid and they give the guy a name. Hag Baglila, the guy to raise the Torah and to roll it. I have seen shuls they call him up by name. It's a big shaila, by the way. I have seen guys that ask for Hagba and they go, no, not so pashut. It's a shayla boizeh Hashem yikalu. It says very bad einshim. If you ever called up for an aliyah, chas v'shalom, to go like this, chas v'shalom. So no, you get your aliyah. Hag b'glil is a shayla, not so pasha to turn it down. It's a shayla if it's boizeh Hashem yikalu. On how any time you're asked to handle the Torah, don't go like this. Now, if you're worried with hag, if you lift it, okay, if chas v'shalom, don't drop it. But if it's a Torah, you can. Here I'm looking at a chiseled chevra. If you ask for Hagba, don't go like this. It's a big cover to handle the Torah. It's not going like this. Like I'm not in the mood. Chas v'shalom. You ask for Hagba, you ask for Glila, you go up and proudly you handle the Torah. Now I've seen three minhagim. I've seen minhagim where they call them up by name. Yamaid, Hagba, and they call the Goyel by name. I've seen shuls, they say Yamaid HaMagbiya v'Hagoyel. I've seen shuls, they just go up. I think the correct minhag is the Gabbai. We have to talk to Eli. We have a great Gabbai here. It is my son Meishel is a great Gabbai, is to say Yamaid HaMagbiya v'Hagoyel. I want to say, by the way, a Gabbai is a big position in a shul. And I have seen this. I talk by chasnas. I tell all the guys, by David's chasna, me and Maishi talk about this. Appoint somebody geschmack to call up. It gives like a nice structure. When somebody does it with confidence and nicely, I think a good gabbai changes the minyan. There's a nice flow, and he calls people up with the chiyus. There's something, he picks the right people. This Shabbos I watch, Rabbi Brownstein's excellent. The guests who come get aliyahs. The bachrim, they give out the aliyahs smartly and geshmak. Now, l'maisa, the minig is to say Yamayda Magbiya Vagoylel. Even if you don't say their names, you're supposed to call them up. It's an honor. Yamayda Magbiya Vagoylel, stand up, come, you're honored. Maybe here we should start saying their names. Shimi says it because his name wasn't said. The Mechaber's mashma, he made a great deal. He said, you don't call, if he's bishmai, with his name, it's an ayin hara to call both names. That's the ayin hara. The Mishnah Berurah says, Pirish minadin ein shum chash iser. There's no iser in this. Valkain, if it happens, don't go down. See, why did the Mechaber say, you're allowed to do it, but don't? It's like an awkward Mechaber. The Mechaber says, it's hard to read. That's why you caught me like staggered. It was not a glasses problem, though it is a little hard to see the Mishnah Berurah. He says, Yechaylim, you could do it, ve'ein menichim, but we don't let. Avi, what's the Mechaber? What's this mental gymnastics? Noah, he says, you can, but we don't. Explains the Mishnah Berurah as an afkamina. If you already did it, let's say it happened, Kishen. The Gabbai by mistake called two brothers, says the Mishnah Berurah, Valkain, if they already called them, don't go down. That would be a bizayon to the Torah. If you call the second brother, you're like, whoops. It's funny, in yeshiva, guys could be in yeshiva like 3 years. Man, did you ever have this? Guys here years, we're like brothers, and he's very close to Rabbi Russ. Then he like finds out we're brother-in-laws. Like, what? I didn't know that. Guys are here like years. I was wondering, I was looking around there, any face, like, what? I never saw in yeshiva two brothers who you find out like they're brothers. That would be like pretty shticky. Two guys would keep it a secret, and then you'd find out these two guys are brothers. L'maisa, if by accident the Gabbai didn't know, maybe he didn't know the minhag, that it's an ayin hara, or maybe he didn't know they were brothers, and he calls back to back two brothers. So you shouldn't go down. That's what it means, we don't allow it lechatchila. But if the guy was already called up, he should make the bracha. Because once you called up, it's not so pasha to go down. That could be like a bezayin atayr. If you're asked to be mechabed the Torah and to go down, never go like this in terms of an aliyah. Now, guys have asked me, they have stage fright. That's a different question. But stam, like you're not in the mood, you go like this. Never. A gabbai comes, you take it. If you can't get the aliyah, you're a Levi, it's Yisrael, Beseder. But if you're capable of getting the aliyah, of course, you cover that Torah, you take it.
What's the difference between like saying the name if everybody knows the
Isn't that interesting? It's good. I don't know the answer, Marty. That's a very good question. I don't know. The Mishnah Berurah says it's even a half brother. Doesn't if they're achim min ha'av, achim min ha'em, and even if they, let's say they say, I'm not makbid an ayin hara. I'm not so superstitious. Says the Mishnah Berurah, even if they say they're not machmir. Yesh machmirim, even an Av with his grandson. That's interesting. My tata's coming for his first Shabbos ever to Durham in a week. Could Hudi and my dad go back to back? Now, the truth is they're both Leviim, so I don't know what happened, but the Mishnah Berurah says that some are machmir, even a Zayda and his Einikol shouldn't go back to back. He says if there's a need, true story, Rabbi, if there's a need, he says, if there's some need, then you can be matir. Now, you might laugh, what type of need? This comes up a lot in bar mitzvahs, where there are so many kibudim. So this has come up. I have been asked this shayla. In Blue Ridge, I was asked this. There were a lot of kibudim, and there was a mix-up. And the Zayda needs an aliyah, and the Einikol is going to go next. The last aliyah is the Einikol's doing maftir, like the Minig Yisrael, and they forgot to give the Zayda. Now what? So the Mishnah Berurah says if there's a tzarich, if there's a need, you could be matir with a grandson. So that's good to know. It comes up. If you have a grandfather and grandson, better not, ayin hara. But there, if there's a need, the hainu, it's a bar mitzvah. You didn't call up the zayda yet. There's somehow a mix-up. You can call zayda grandson. Yes, Udi?
What would happen if there's a million there's only siblings that could get? Would you still give it to
That's a great question. Let's say you're on a family trip.
Then why is the Mishnah Berurah?
This is a great shaila. Hudi says you have a beautiful family of 10.
Or 5, and then the other family's Levium. What would come first?
That's very cool. So you have a scenario where the other family are Kahanim Levium, and you have 5 brothers, a minion of 10.
If the Mishnah Berurah, what he's assuming that the reason why the Mechaber says it's legal.
Hudi said this would be the B'diavad. If he's already called, you don't need...
No, but why is
Maybe he just spoke that example. Hudi wants to know, since Medina it's mutter, if you have a family gathering, which is better? To not give... Let's say you only have 10 brothers. I hear what you're saying. He's Bavarning. It's an easier scenario if you're already called up.
Maybe the fact that Mr. Brewer says the
I hear. Are you being medayik? He said that. Why didn't he learn pshat in the mechaber?
Or either way. Why is he
Good time.
assuming one?
Good time. So what do you say now, Chevra? You have a whole family gathering, and it's all brothers. You call up people back to back.
Have to.
So Avram says, now Hudi says maybe other b'di'eveds. Avram says if it's 10 brothers, a nice family, zevach mishpacha, you go somewhere and you have a family gathering, call up brothers, Medina it's mutter. It's only a problem of ayin hara. And Medina it's mutter, and you're supposed to have 7 kruyim on Shabbos. So Avram says to do it. Hudi asked the Mishnah Berurah, was medayik, the mechaber says you're allowed to, but we don't do it. Asked the Mishnah Berurah, why the mechaber write it like that? He said, b'di'evet if you're already called. Hudi said there's the case l'chatchilu when you call. He's a little bit wondering. Maybe the Mishnah Berurah could have said that.
So why? Maybe then if you would call, you would stop. Maybe then it's not a good thing. It could have been medayik another way. Maybe then this deal's not true when he was. That's why
I think la'alacha, I think it's brought. We can look further. I think it's brought a family of 10 you call up.
So maybe the fact that the mechaber said it like this, that it's legal.
Because it's ein menichin. Because here it's not even ein menichin, you mean?
Yeah, maybe that's
why
is it making that the diak, I'm saying?
Could be.
Also, could be if it's just family, there's no ayin hara. Could be ayin hara is another deal. You have to have a letter deal. You could still make a case there.
The Mishnah Berurah says, by the way, that if it's a separate Sefer Torah, let's say it's Shabbos Chanukah and 2 Sifrei Torah, then you could go back to back. Avlim might see in Sefer Torah Acheres Mutter, then it's not an ayin hara. I don't know the rules. I don't know why. But he says if it's 2 different Sifrei Torah, he says 2 Sifrei, what do you say?
It's 2 different.
Yeah, it's 2 Matzavim. He says if it's 2 Sifrei Torah, I'm not bakamta like how ayin haras work. Now, by the way, somebody could laugh at ayin hara. We don't laugh. There's halacha, shulchan aruch. There's something called ayin ra. It's amazing that it matters how we look at people. And you could ask, and Morty wants to know, what's the deal with this ayin hara? Shimi's like, one that's so interesting, back to back. What's this bad look? What's this bad look of father, son? I wonder, and this I don't know, Hudi, I don't know how ayin hara works well. I wonder it's just the family. There's no ayin hara to call brothers. Shimi, you said that, Svara? I love you. Shimler said this, Svara. Good, Shimi Rosen. Shimi wanted to say it's a family matziv. Says no ayin hara. The whole ayin hara is others see brothers. You're dominating shul. What do you say to that?
The show was looking for one other guy.
Yeah, there's one.
9 and 1. Hudi, what were you saying? You're diak here. You're saying that what?
In as much as there's another way of making the diak that applies and with Hafila, why is the Mishnah Berurah, why is he assuming it one way?
Maybe it's not even true, you're saying?
I'm saying obviously.
But I assume he also Misvara helps.
Yeah. No, but from that, there's no deal.
Right, I don't think he was getting it nerve from a deal. Yeah, then I understand that maybe this, not that. Good time. I assume he wasn't only saying from the deal.
Another one I'm saying makes even more sense because that's like this is
right. Because even l'chatchila you're allowed.
What about like brachas by a wedding? Can you call it the family?
That's a good shaila. Ask Shimi, how about, does this halacha apply to Sheva brachas? You call up Avi's going to announce by his Schwester's Chasna, Be'ezeh Hashem, it's right time. You're going to be calling up. Are you the caller-upper when you do it?
I did it.
You're a dig. You did it, Shems? You did the call.
The wrong guy for the fifth breath out of guys. He's the guy who was like, not you, no?
Shimmer did the calling up.
I had
the 17th business truck.
He says, the Mishabura says there's some shuls that don't call up the maftir by name. They say, yeah, I'm Moed HaMaftir. They don't say his name. So since you don't say his name, then you can do two brothers in a row. He says, but let's say you usually say the name. Don't not say the name. Don't do that. He said, if you normally say the name, say, I want to call two brothers, won't say the name. The Shmur says not to do it.
Who are you tricking by not saying the name?
Yeah, he says don't do that. He said, the Mishabura says don't do that trick. That doesn't work. Fascinating. Fascinating.
It says, but Gemara says, but Zuga is here a lot of market. But I got the Ein Harz.
Say that again?
Zuga is like two cops here a lot. The Gemara says, if you're not makbid, it doesn't affect you.
Here it's funny. The Mishabura says even if you're not makbid, it's interesting. Dubi, are you a big Ayin Hara guy? My family, we never was so like. No, are you guys big Ayin Hara guys? My family also, we didn't like pay so much attention. But here the Mishabura says doesn't matter.
What is the Ayin Hara?
It's a good question. Are you like being too dominant in your family? Let others get a chance. It's a good shayla. But you shouldn't have. I don't know. What? I don't know a lot about Ayin Hara. Is this like one family dominant and give other people chances here? Like, it's like, what's with that? What, that family gets all the luck here? Look, something like that. It sounds like the svara. People look negativity. In the negative light, I like that. So Yehuda, Shimi, and me all say it's all family. Maybe there's no Ayin Hara then.
The Ayin Hara is that people are looking at how you guys are looking.
Nobody's looking at it. Maybe a nice svara. Isn't this interesting, Chevra? So now who's going to forget it? And we had a mice in yeshiva. So Shimi brilliantly said that him and David, and he kept doing it. Shimi's so smart, he had Hagba, and his brothers called up. Somebody said, hey, brother. He said he wasn't called by name.
That's what she said on the spot?
On the spot. On the spot. The only thing you could say back, Shimi, is not called by name might only help because there's a Kaddish in between. This whole sugya was Maftir and Shvi.
This is what we got some Piskei Teshuvos, but
Piskei Teshuvos said if you're not called by name. Let's see.
It wasn't my own.
Isn't this a party, Avi? Always when halacha comes up, look it up. You'll have like such a party, and you end up remembering it, Avi. Who do you know when it comes up and you look up in your own house? You're gonna have shilas on Shabbos. Ask, but then look up. Do some research. It becomes so much fun, Mo. You hear what you're going to do, Moyo? When shilas come up in the house. Shimmy, you caused the whole party here. Okay, I do want to get to Musar today. This is a Musar for itself, but I do... What? Oh, you're so nice. Thank you. This definitely helps. Let's see. I'm so happy that this shaila with the Zayda, that the Mishabura says with the Zayda you could do back to back. That's a good one to know. That happens at Bar Mitzvah. If there's a tzarech, something happened. He says Hag Baglila. To be mechabit two brothers or a father's son b'Hag Baglila. The Piskei Teshuvos, this Sefer writes, if you don't call them by name and you don't do a Misha Berach, you're allowed. L'chatchila. It's funny, if you do Misha Beirach, he's not happy. But if you don't do Misha Beirach and you do it back, he says that it's fine. But if you call them by their name and you make them a Misha Beirach, then you shouldn't do it. So that's interesting. You called, what'd you say? Somehow it's more of an ayin hara, like the whole shul here is. Maybe they even, it's like announced their brothers even. Like, Noah's asking if everybody knows their brothers. Why is that different? I don't know. I don't know. No.
It's a kaddish in between, or everybody they're still announcing the names. It's different.
Yeah. Why does that change anything? Somehow maybe people like a reset. Yehuda says like something different going on. I don't know. Fascinating. Okay, let's get to. I want to get to something in the parsha that's important to me. But this sugya was an interesting sugya. It was said this is supposed to be like a Musa shir, but I do want to say it's learning Torah. I always call it a learning Torah shir, but I do want to say when shilas come up, ask and also research. See, try to, even when you ask, you could get a Rav will sometimes tell you where the source material is. It's always good to see this. I don't think most of us will remember this now when things come up. So now we've seen it. Maskim Avram. What I wanted to speak about for a few minutes on the parsha, Yaakov Avinu is coming down to Mitzrayim. In Parshas Vayigash, Yaakov Avinu is coming down to Mitzrayim. And Yaakov Avinu sends Yehuda. All of us know famously, the pasuk says, Ves Yehuda shalach lefanav el Yosef. He sends Yehuda earlier, l'hayreis lefanav, to paskin in front of him. Very cryptic pasuk shleima. Yehuda sent by Yaakov Avinu to Yosef to paskin to Goshen. And he comes to Goshen. He goes early. He sends him before to go ahead. So, the Pashup Pshat, it's always important to know Pashup Pshat. All of us as little kids learned the Medrash. The Medrash is not the Pashup Pshat. He sent Yehuda, they're all coming down, and Yaakov says, Yehuda, you go ahead. The line of the Pasuk is L'hayreis lefanav. L'hayreis is to paskin. Rashi says, lift makam, to clear out a space and to see how to settle. So Pashup Pshat is Yehuda went down to help them. They're coming down to Mitzrayim to arrange the apartments, to get things organized. Yaakov's coming, things should be in order. Now in the Pashup Pshat, it so makes sense that Yehuda was sent Shmuel. Pashup Pshat is Yehuda Gersh. I want you to hear this. Pashup Pshat is Yaakov sent Yehuda l'hayreis lefanav. They're about to go to Mitzrayim. He looks at his sons. He needs one geshekt. Yiddish. Today's word of the day is a Yiddish word, geshekt. Geshekt means what? Very capable. David Rosenthal is geshekt. A geshekt guy on a shidduch. It's a good shidduch term. He's very geshekt. Geshekt means he knows how to do stuff. He's a very capable fellow. On Tzvi Rands, Shadochem, I want to tell people you're geshekt. Geshekt is a capable guy. He's good. I'm not geshekt. I can't change a light bulb. You wouldn't call me geshekt. But a geshekt guy is like the word capable, very capable. So Yehuda, Yaakov Avinu is looking around for a son to set them up. They're coming to Mitzrayim to arrange the houses, pick out the proper living requirements. That's Pashup Pshat l'hayreis lefanav. Is l'hayreis doesn't mean to paskin, but l'hayreis heich yisasheba, to see, to enlighten how we could live there. Make sure, pick out what buildings for whom. Yaakov's coming with a whole entourage. So you arrange the living quarters. Dad and Mom, you'll be here. The Shabbos table cracks me up. Families' attempts, like if they're guests, who's sitting where, they're always that good guy in the family who knows how to do it. Avi, who's the guy in Europe? There's a big crowd who knows how to arrange who's sitting where.
One of the girls, I don't know.
You always have to make sure, well, this one shouldn't be in here. This, family politics, who should sit where. There's always somebody who can manage a crowd. So Yaakov Avinu sent Yehuda Lahayres, is Lahayres Heich Yisyasheba, to see who should stay where. Different mishpachas, who would get what apartment, Martha. That's Pashup Shad. Says Rashi, Medrash Agada, another Pshat of Medrash. Lahayres Lefanav is L'sakin Le'beis Talmud. To make a yeshiva, Shemisham Teitzei Ayra, there should be psak. I don't know about you, Aaron. I struggle with Pshat and Drash. Pshat is, he sent Yehuda to make sure, to see who should stay where. And the Drash is to make a Talmud Torah, to make a yeshiva, that they should have a place for psak. What happened? What did he send them for? There were two missions. Pshat and Drash. Pshat is he sent him because he was very good at organizing, and the Drash is to make a yeshiva. So first of all, stop Pshat and Drash, like it means two different things. Maybe I want to share something that the Pshat, I find in my life that the Pshat and Drash usually work together. Here they don't seem like teammates, Pshat and Drash. Pshat is Lahayrais, is the fella to figure out who's staying where, and the Drash is to make yeshiva. Kasha tu Shimler is if you pick somebody who's staying where, I pick Yehuda, top target amongst the Shvatim. What is Yehuda's job? King. La Yasser Shevet Meyuda, he's the king. The Malchus always come from Yehuda. The Chashmonaim were punished. The Ramban says because they were Kehanim and they took Melucha. And he says they were over a pasuk in the Torah, La Yasser Shevet Meyehuda. The Yehuda are the kings, not the Kehanim. Everybody has to know their job. I love watching basketball. I love basketball teams. I like when people play their roles. And it bothers me when a guy doesn't do his role. I like the big man, get on there and bang. The big man stands by the three-point line hoisting and he doesn't get rebounds. Do your job. Know your position. Know what you... I love when bench players cheer on the starters. Cheer, geschmack. Do your job. Fill your role. Fill your role. Very important. And there's no turning it on in life. The guy who does it in sports, midas, art, they work everywhere. Know your role and fill your role. Do your role well. So, if I was picking a guy, Yosef Chaim, to set up who's staying where, Yehuda's the man. The Melech's job is the physical needs of the nation. And a Melech's very, very good at that. Levavai, Levav, he feels the people. He's able, you stay here, you stay here. He knows how it works, Shmuel. So that job, I would pick Yehuda. But the job to make a yeshiva, which shevet would you pick to make the yeshiva? Chevra, which shevet should build the yeshiva? Yisachar. Yisachar is the Talmud Chacham, Chamar Garam. He's the Talmud Chacham. What's going on? Yaakov's looking to make a yeshiva. He sent the wrong shevet to make the yeshiva. He sent the Melech to make a yeshiva. He should have sent Yisachar. I'm perplexed. He sent the wrong one. Who would be second choice to make a yeshiva if Yisachar is too busy learning? If you wanted a different shape, who's the second one? That's very smart. You're a smart man because Yaakov Avinu actually tells Shimon to be teachers of Torah. He tells Shimon, Ar Apam, and Yifitzein be Yisrael. Shimon's task was to be Rabbeim. So Shimon can make a yeshiva. Who else? So Shimon, Yisachar would be two choices to build a yeshiva. Another shevet it would make sense to build a yeshiva. Levi, Yair Mishpatecha L'Yankiv, the Levium are the teachers of Torah. Yair Mishpatecha, Avi, Yehudi, jump up the Levium. Yair Mishpatecha L'Yankiv, the job of the Levi is to teach Torah. Why did he send Yehuda? We have a festa kasha here. 3 Shvatim would go before you even think about Yehuda to make a yeshiva. Who are the 3 Shvatim? Either send Yisachar. The Torah says Yisachar's chamor garm, he's a thick-boned donkey, he's a big masmid. Or send Shimon, whose job is to teach Torah and Klai. So Yaakov Avinu says, Yefit Seim Be Yisrael, your job is to be the Malamed Tanaikas. Or send Levi, that the pasuk openly says, Yor Mishpatach L'Yankiv. Menacha, good cash, you know.
Yosef is the Ben Zakun,
Interesting. But Yosef is in Mitzrayim already. Yosef was running the country. So I wouldn't ask why he didn't send Yosef. Because he wasn't with Yankov and he's running the country. But the three of them, so it's interesting. Somebody says Zavulun supports Yisachar, but he's the businessman. So maybe he would fund the yeshiva. To start the yeshiva, there are three spots in Yosef Chaim that I would pick before Yehuda. Yisachar, Shimon, and Levi. Why does he send Yehuda? Now it's interesting. Rashi has Pshat and Drash. In Pshat, what was his job to do? To set things up, Gishmak. That was a Pshat. Okay, that would be Yehuda, by the way. The one to organize the Yishuv is Yehuda. But the Drash, that it's to make a yeshiva, is not Yehuda. So what's going on here? So, what? Let's read it. It's interesting. That's where Tzviki would take over. Shemler said maybe it's to build the yeshiva, not to be the Rosh Yeshiva. He sent him to build it. So then I would say Naphtali should go. Then I'd say Vaiter, it's not Yehuda. Mechatesi. So then Naphtali, Yisachar, and Zvulun, not Naphtali. Zvulun, I'm sorry. Tzvi said Zvulun should do it. The support is what's Yehuda doing? Interesting theory. That's what Rashi says. Pshat.
Setting them up, so we built the yeshiva also.
So it's like the construction.
But the Rashi's not saying that. But why? What makes it two different things?
It's interesting. Like you got
set up for them. So part of that is.
Part of that is setting up a base Sairah.
Rashi says two different things, but why is it two different things?
Hudi's saying that's part of like making a gishmak a place.
Build the city.
It's interesting. Rashi's bothered by the word lahayres, obviously. Lahayres is not, lahayres means to paskin. Lahayres means to paskin, to clarify. So Rashi's bothered by it. He's setting up how to live. So Rashi's first shot is to clarify how to live there. Who should stay where? It's the guy who does the seating at the Shabbos. By the Fishers, who does the seating at the Shabbos table? Who's the brains? Mama. Every home. By the Schillers, who does it, Shims?
By David, that was good.
There's always one. By the Guris, Shlomo, who's the guy? Like, you're the guy. I could sit guy who's suspected. Shlomo is good at everything. By the Sickers, Shlomo, who's the guy when all the cousins and things are like, There's always one hero who like sets it. It's the Bubby, yes?
I like the awkward positioning you have to come out. I said I'm nervous.
So Rashi's by the Lahayres. Rashi's first pshat is Lahayres Hasius Yashiv, the one who knows who should sit near whom. Yehuda's the one who knows the people. Rashi's second pshat in Hayra is to be Misakir Beis HaTalmud. I love Shimi's teretz. Hudi and Shimi are saying very nicely that the Hayra is to make a place of Hayra, is to make a yeshiva. Says Hudi and Shimi, it wasn't who's teaching Torah, it was to build it. A little bit it bothers me, and you're allowed to learn Pshat Geshmak. Manny, what bothers you, maybe they're right. What bothers me, he's saying Lahayres, it was like a construction job. Who do you even ask? So that's included in the Yishuv. What does it mean to build a Beis Medrash? Like it has the right number of tables? Sounds like there was some. So it was like a right structure. Maybe. I'm not.
Better Rashi would have separated them. Then he would have been two different things. And that's true. Would have been two different things.
It's all the same. That's how.
Who do you say there shouldn't be pshat and drush?
Hudi said that's how to dwell. Hudi's bothered by it.
No, so clearly not.
Hudi said, "What is a shtat on kin Beis Medrash?"
Clearly it means more than just building the structure.
Daniel, you like Hudi's cash? I like it. Hudi said, "Lahayres Hechnis Yashuv Avada has a Beis Medrash. You're making a batzim." Of course, like
Of course, it means more than just building the structure.
I'd like to share the following Sfas Emes with the Chevra.
It doesn't say somewhere to
Sakin like base Talmud Shem sounds like Shemler a little bit, the construction job. Yosef Chaim, he's saying that it makes sense. Maybe Yehuda, the Melech, knows how to get it done.
Why is he making it a separate
So the Hiris is telling you what's
I hear. Yeah, it could be just. It could be the second pshat is only in the word lahayres. It could be the two pshatim The pshat in Lahayrais is Lahayrais Heichis Yasheba. The drash in Lahayrais is a place of Hayra. That's Goof in his task. I'm not against what they're both saying. I'd like to share. But he says, L'sakein loy beis Talmud, to build it. The word Hayra was Shemisham Teitze Hayra. So L'hayrais L'fanav, it's funny it became a verb. Make a beis medrash that's meant for Hayra. So Hayrais is, go beis medrash it. That's life. Now, that's what it said. I hear. I'm not trying to make trouble. Listen to this. Listen to this, Rabbi say. In Kapitel Tilim Kuf Yotes Yodala. In Kapitel Kuf Yotes, David HaMelech says as follows. And this is what I want to share with the Chevra. I think it comes out gorgeous on the Pshat and Drash, and I need to share this with the Chevra, because it touches, Hashem is so great. I started out a first thing. We did a first thing today, and I totally did it because Shimler made trouble on Shabbos, and he made the solution on Shabbos, so I started out. And then I thought I wanted to tell you something on my mind. I realized while I'm talking, it's like the same thing, and listen to this. Listen to this, Avila. The pasuk in Tilim Kuf Yotes, chapter Kuf Yotes Yod, he says as follows. David HaMelech says, "Welcome home, Giddy. Good to have you back. When did you come back, kids? This morning? Much better to have you here."
What in the world is David HaMelech?
Giddy, David HaMelech says, "Chashavti drachai, I thought out my day." It's in the Chesed. Kuf Yotes has psukim on the whole Aleph Beis. The first many psukim are Aleph, then Beis, then Gimel, then Daled, then Hey. On Ches, David HaMelech says, Chashavti drachai, I thought out my day. David HaMelech was very, very busy. He's the king, he has meetings, and on his plate, David HaMelech is an overwhelming, the busiest person in the world, is the Melech Yisro. So he's busy like crazy. He says, Chashavti drachai, I thought out my day. Vaishiva ragile desecha, and my feet took me to Torah. Pashup Pshat is David HaMelech had like different needs, and he found himself in the Beis Medrash. That's Pashup Pshat. David HaMelech, all Rosh Hashivas use this as a shmooze for Hasmadas HaTorah. Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. David HaMelech's the busiest person in Kleisel. Said, I planned out my day, and lo and behold, I ended up in the Beis Medrash. He would just suddenly be learning. He had big plans and pressures and needs, but so was his attachment to Torah. He found himself in the Beis Medrash. Now, what's wrong with just say Pshat, simple Pshat? I like the shmuz. Any shmuz, it's a Mishnah, Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, and typically in the world of Rashi Yeshiva, this is a shmuz of Talmud Torah, as it should be. Zero mak faker Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, the highest mitzvah, the most kedusha. Rabbi Kalish says, all the mitzvahs put together, the kedusha asher kedushanu b'mitzvaysav does not equal the kedusha of one who learns Torah. Rabbi Kalish writes it. So certainly, David HaMelech describes he had many responsibilities, and he says, but all of a sudden I just find myself, David HaMelech, who was a masmid nifla, was like Pasak Pume, who did not stop learning. So he had many responsibilities, but he'd find himself in the Beis Medrash. He was always learning. My Rebbe describes Rav Aaron Cutler, the great Rosh Hashiva of Lakewood, and my Rebbe describes Rav Aaron Cutler, Zatzal, that Rav Aaron, in the middle of the craziest things, he was busy, Hatzalas Yisrael, like saving Klal Yisrael, life and death things, he would have a few moments he would learn, but not he would learn something light. He'd be heavy involved. I remember the Sefer Rebbe quoted Einig Yantiv. You remember the Sefer Rebbe? He said Einig Yantiv. He'd like be in the middle of involved teeth in a sugya. He said his mind was so entrenched in learning, even when he had pikuach nefesh things that he had to take his attention, if he had a minute or two, he was right back into a sefer. But be'iyun, in middle of deep learning, so rooted was he in Torah. So that's what the pasuk's saying. David HaMelech says, I think out my day, then I always end up back in the Beis Medrash. Ashiva Ragasa. That's what the Rosh Hashivas say. Pshat, gorgeous Pshat. gorgeous lesson to us all to make a connection to Torah. I want every single guy here to have roots in Torah, to connect to Torah, to connect deeply to Torah. But I want to tell you what the Sfas Emes says. The Sfas Emes says, Avi, you know what it means? David HaMelech had so much to attend to, and everything came, all his dealings, the Melech Yisrael, were always rooted. It came from Torah. David HaMelech, different people wanted to meet him. How do you know who to put first? His priorities came from Torah. Within each meeting, within all his dealings, how do you know what to do, how to do, in what manner? It was always rooted in Torah. Says this Sfas Emes, David HaMelech saying, Chashavti Drach, I am so overwhelmed with so much. My feet take me to the Beis Medrash means the way I act in all my different dealings comes from Torah. I learn from Torah. The Torah guides and instructs and teaches. All his dealings were rooted in Torah, were rooted in the attitudes of Torah, in the ways, in the sweet ways of Torah. That's what David HaMelech is saying. Chashavti drach, I had many plans. I shiva ragilei desecha. My feet take me to the Beis Medrash. My anhagas are rooted in Torah. I behave in a way. You could have a busy day running a company, but there's honesty, rooted in Torah. That everything is done in a way of a Torah-dik person. In an office, there are interactions with Nashim. It's rooted in Torah. It's done Torah-dik. There's sincerity. There's refinement. There's heart. There's loftiness. It's all rooted in Torah. That's what the Sfas Emes says. Thanks a million. No, that's what Sfas Emes says. So I want to say to the Chevra, that's what's happening in the Pshat and Drash in this pasuk. Yaakov Avinu wants Yehuda to go down and establish the physical structure of how it's going to run. And the pshat is that he was making, you stay here, you get this. And the drash is he made a Beis Medrash for Psak. And it's all that Yehuda's the Melech, Yehuda's involved in the physical structures of Klal Yisrael. But they're all rooted in the Beis Medrash. The Pshat and Drash are not, Drash means deeper yet. How did Yehuda know who gets what? Everything was rooted in Ashkafas Hashem, in Torah. The Torah he had learned from his fathers, they had learned Torah, and they had known Torah, and the Torah he learned from his fathers was all, that's the Pshat and Drash. In Pshat it was Yehuda setting up all who's staying where, the houses. But Lohayres Lefanav Gaishna is to be Misakin a Beis HaTalmud Shemisham Teitzei Ayra. He wanted it to be Yaakov Avinu that this society is going to run, everything's going to be miyusad on Torah. It's going to run from Ashkafas HaTorah. What does Hashem want? What are the right attitudes and ideals? How does it look? How does it run? It was going to be based, rooted in Torah. So that's Pshat and Drash. That's why he specifically asked the Melech. I asked to make a yeshiva. You don't ask the Melech. I feel that the key point to every yid is there should not be a different construction for the Beis Medrash and for family life. All the details should be Torah-dik, done with kindness, done with elevation. The one who builds the communal life is rooted in Torah. There's no different arena of politics, a different arena. It should all run with beauty and sincerity. My dream, I want guys to make tremendous roots in Torah. I want you to run your family with that same loftiness, with midas taivas, with sincerity. The picture I have of every guy is behind the closed doors of your house. You have the same refinement, the same Yireh Shamayim exists. The most tragic scene is somebody's a Talmud Chacham, and then in his house life, in his physical life, he acts in a way inappropriate. That's when there's a separation between the life of the Beis Medrash and the life inside the home. What happened to the refinement? What happened to the godliness? What happened to the elevations? So Yaakov Avinu says, you the Melech, I want you to make the physical places, build L'Hayres L'Fanav Gaishna, build a place, Shemisham Teitzei Eira. I want the physical all to be rooted. Sometimes, like in that area, you take a tough guy, and this is politics. It's dirty. B'chas v'shalom. It should run with sincerity, with the ne'imus of Torah. should run with all the sweetness and sincerity and elevation and honesty and beauty of Torah. All the aspects of life should run that way.
So why not send Shimon?
I'm sorry?
Why not send Shimon to also have this Ashkenaz?
My point, Avada, the Melech's involved in all the physical structures, but it said L'Hayres L'Fanav, guys. You remember, you're building a yeshiva Yehuda. A shtickle like Hudi, that Avadi was building everything, including like Shemi and Hudi was saying. Avadi was building a yeshiva, it was being masakin. But in the instruction to build, he said, remember, you're building us a place, Misham Teitzei Hayra. Every physical thing comes from Hira, comes from Torah, comes from an elevated place.
So why is that Yehuda then?
Yehuda's the one who does all the physical work. He's the melech. So the setting up, the organizing, but it all should come from a place of elevation.
That sounds like secondary, like we're sending you because you're the king. So you're gonna do a good
He
job.
is the
But
one,
that's
this is
not
his
how it
task.
runs. So send the Talmud Chacham and tell him how to do.
This is Yehuda's task. For sure, I don't have a cash. Yehuda was sent. I'm explaining the drash. I'm explaining, to me, this was lied in what the drash was saying. Avada, the pshat is he went, and this is the truth. The pshat is what happened. Yehuda's the exact one to set up Mitzrayim. The Melech's involved in all the physical. But there was a drash there. Yehuda, remember, set up a base measure. A little bit like Hudi asked, of course you make a base measure. There was a drash here. There was an underlying, a deeper message here, that all the physical structures take their root in a world of Torah, sincerity, authenticity, kindness. I love when things run, when the Gashmiistic things run. It's important to me in a yeshiva that the basketball leagues, the people running it, have a certain l'shem shemayim. They do things with good kavanas, thoroughly. Every part has kodesh. I don't like separating. Okay, that's the sports. There's a different realm. That's the hockey team. The basketball team, the politics on the basketball team matter to me. That things are done with sincerity, done in an authentic way, every aspect. That's what I see in this. So Yehuda's doing all the physical. There's a remez, la'eres, l'fanav. I love this idea. I like it lived. Anybody who knows the writings of Rev Hirsch were dominated by this theme. He called this Torah Derech Eretz, when every aspect of life is infused with sincerity. A guy goes to work should be the same ruchniistic, a refined, beautiful person. I think about, I'm called up by guys in yeshiva who are off in the workforce, and I have tremendous nachas. They live this. L'hayres l'fanav Geishna. It's not separate. Oh, now it's different. Now it's the business guy. No. It's the same hanhaga, the same care for ehrlichkeit, for honesty, the same elevated person who was learning. You don't want to see a difference. You don't want to see an elevated guy learning and a bully, a mean person in the home, dealings with wife and children. The same elevated person who was praying, who was learning, now he's dealing with wife and children with an elevated fashion. With midas taivus, with godliness. That's what Yaakov Avinu was thought out. It's thought out. It's the same ruchniistic mensch. L'hayres l'fanav Geishna. That's what I think is the drash. I think it's, if there's such a thing called pashup shad in drash, I think there's pashup shad. I actually think, I'm not telling you how to learn. I'm learning with you, but I think understanding this also tells you how to learn. It's like a pshat here. He told him to build the place up. Drash, he said to build a yeshiva. Like Hudi asked, what's the drash? I mean, obviously, when you set a place, there's a place to pray and a place to learn. I think the drash is saying that he told him to construct it, and he used the word lahayris, remembering you're making a beis hayra. Remember that all the aspects are shtam and come from there and have to be done in that elevated, pure manner. I want dorm council runs a night activity to be l'shem shemaim. I want a guy to run a night activity. I want him to take it seriously. He should push it. It's his avodah. It's his avodah. My wife has asked me, I haven't run tournaments yet. She asked me, how was it? I had to go. Like, did you enjoy or something? I said, it's like asking, did you enjoy Shemona Esrei? We're born for it's avodah. We're born for that. Did you enjoy? I hear, yeah. Did you enjoy Shemana Esrei? For sure. I was born for that. I want a guy to see it, all the activities. A guy runs a night activity should have a seriousness, a sincerity, an effort, a l'shem shamayim, kavana l'taiva. It all comes. He's making, what's the purpose of all? For closeness to Hashem. So all the aspects should have the refinement, the lishma. That's what I picture Yaakov Avinu telling Yehuda. He sends Yehud and he says, you're building all the structures. You know, you could picture the scenes where people are being not tyrannic and sincere. This is a different, it's not a different venue. It's all the physical things have a tremendous, tremendous importance. It matters the table, it matters the eating, all the aspects of a family are very chashuv. My wife just built a beautiful bookcase in our dining room. The more I learn Torah, the more I appreciate. I was not such a guy like into designs. It was like very important to me. A beautiful new bookcase in the dining room. Beautiful. It's updated. It's nice. The physical of the home is so important. It's a place we serve Hashem. It's a sanctuary. Rabbi Brownstein told me this Shabbos, and he made me on the case again. He said, do you see our Aron Kodesh? We have to build a nice one. Rabbi Brownstein this Shabbos pointed, we have way too many any yeshiva that Shalom and Akiva are there. You guys are artists and geschickt galore. We got to build a nice Aron Kodesh. We got to. The physical matters. All the physical aspects matter in a world of service of Hashem. The physical matters a lot. And Yehuda's doing all the physical. Yaakov says to him, all this is rooted in the Beis Medrash. It has significance. It's taken with tremendous, supreme importance. That's what I wanted to share with the Chevra. We're going to make a minyan for Mincha. Whose glasses? You are so sweet. Are yours? Oh, thank you.
I don't know if I saw them there.
Oh, I leave glasses everywhere. Guys have said this who struggle. Guys who have, what's that called, the words move? Dyslexia. It's so hard to think when you're battling to read. Guys, you know,